Hi guys, it's me Terri of the Yarnjoy podcast. Welcome to part 4 of Dash the Deer Crochet Along. Okay, so for this week's assignment, we're going to be finishing up our Dash the Deer, okay? So for this week, we need to do the arms, which I've done here, the arms, the legs, okay, oops, and the tail, okay. So as far as the construction goes, the arms and legs, no problem. Just follow her instructions. I didn't have any really particular problems as far as I didn't see there was anything that I need to point out in the construction of them. Straightforward. I did fasten off, okay, and then left a long tail, and then to prepare to sew these onto our body, she said to go ahead and stuff them. Now, when I am going to do a pattern where I need to stitch the opening closed, okay, and that's how she has her patterns for the arms and legs, then I always stuff mine not all the way up to the top, but I kind of leave an area about the width of my thumb that I can pinch that is not stuffed, okay, and that just, to me, that just kind of helps with securing it onto my body and stitching it closed, and it still leaves some bend to the arms, okay, and also to the legs. Now to the legs, I do that because of the way he sits, so that way I can make sure that he will be able to sit up by himself. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the arms first. With the arms, I always make sure I find the place where I color changed. See, my color change is not exactly straight. I do have a little jog right there. So if you want to put I usually, when I find the color changes, they're like that. What I do is I put it either underneath the bottom of the animal, you know, if it's going the bottom of the leg, so that way you won't see it when it's sitting up, or within the when it's an arm, I will put it to the side where this part will be alongside his body, you know, like the underarm area, okay? So if I'm going to do that, I'm going to put this jog here to the side, and then I want to make sure when I pinch the top, it's going to be, what is that, perpendicular to it? I don't know. Just so that way this will be the underside of it, see? Hope that makes sense, okay? So anyway, let's see. I've already got my yarn ready. Oh, I did this one first. Let's do this one. Okay, since the needle is already on this tail. So, okay, so there is my color change little jog. Yeah, so I want to put that on the inside of the arm, and so when I pinch it closed, I want to make sure that it's going to be on the inside, okay? And then I just take my yarn and I stitch across from one side to the other to stitch the opening closed, okay? You can also slip stitch across this edge if you hadn't fastened off. If you want to do that, you can do that, and then fasten off, leaving a tail for sewing. It's no problem. Or, I mean, you can do that. You can do it that way too. Okay. Let's see. I've got mine almost closed here. Okay, I'm going to do one more stitch across there. Okay, see that? Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and take my needle out and go ahead and stitch closed my other arm, doing the same thing. Okay, so I will meet you up when I get finished with that. Okay, so I've just stitched the second arm closed. And now I'm going to go ahead and pin my arms onto Dash's body. Okay, so she said to attach the arms about one row down from the top of the neck. Okay, and so I turned the deer to the side here to try to kind of line up where I want my arm to be. And then I take my trusty pins and I start sticking pins in to attach the arms to hold them there while I decide if that's where I want to put them or if I need to shift them. Okay, put one more. Okay, then I take my second arm and I'm going to do the same thing, making sure that I have that little color transition point to the inside. Get some pins for that. Okay, and then I turn him to the front and see if I feel like the arms and the leg, the arms are even on both sides, and it looks like they are. Yeah, okay. So if I like the way they are looking, looks to me like well, no, I think I've got it in the right place. You can always shift it just a little bit right before you start sewing. But if you think you've got the arms in the place that you want, then we're going to go ahead and start sewing them on. Okay. So I've got my yarn, my needle already yarned up with the arm on this side, so I'll go ahead and start with that one. I like to sew the arms on first before I start sewing on the legs. Because I always want to make sure I've got the legs positioned right where he will sit up by himself, okay? And so it always helps, to me, it helps to have the arms on there already, okay? Looks like this one needs to be shifted just a little bit. It's a little bit low, I think. So anyway, you just move your arms around until you get to the place that you want them to be. I'll try them there. Yeah, I think this one I'm going to have to shift up too. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think I like that. I think that'd be good. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to sew on the arms. And I sew the arms on just like I've sewed all the other pieces, the ears and the antlers. You know, I just go in right underneath where the arm is going to be sitting, and then come up. And when I tried to go through, I aim to go through both thicknesses of the arm. I'll come up through the arm, but go through both thicknesses. And then back down into the body again. I know it's kind of awkward to show. It's kind of awkward to hold it like this, where I'm trying to keep him in the camera. Okay. I think these are about the easiest arms to sew on when you have them where they're closed at the top, because that way you have this flat piece to sew on instead of something that you're trying to keep round like we did the antlers. I think it's one reason I like, one of the many reasons that I like Jess Huff's patterns. And as always, if you can make a big stitch coming out a stitch hole, just like I was showing you on the ears when I did the ears. Just go back through that stitch hole, so that way you don't see it. but that to me helps so much, because sometimes it's really awkward to try to make real tiny stitches. Okay, so I'm going to keep securing my arm here, and then I will come back when I get it sewn on, and I'll show you what it's looking like. Okay. Okay, so now I've got the arm pretty well secured, I think, the way I am wanting it. And so before cutting it off, though, I always go ahead and just take my yarn needle off my strand of yarn, and I just leave it for right now, because that way, if I need to go back after I sew everything else on, and I felt like maybe the joins have kind of loosened up or something on the parts, I can always just pick up my yarn again and secure it down further if I need to. Okay, so I never trim this off until I am completely finished with it. Okay, so now I'm going to go over onto my other side, and I'm going to sew on this the second arm. Now, one thing I was going to point out is when I'm sewing the arm on, I always look underneath the arm too to see how I'm liking the stitches underneath, if I feel like that they're attached well. Okay, so you just kind of play around with it and look at it at all angles to see if it's connected the way you're wanting it. Okay, so I'm going to go on and sew in my second arm, and then I will be right back. Okay, so now I got both of my arms sewed on, and I think I'm liking the way they're looking. Like I said, I still have these tails back here, so that way if I need to adjust them at the end, I still have the yarn tails to work with. Okay, so now going on to the one thing I want to say about the tail. It was very easy to make. It was just two circles, and then you stitch them together, and she does have a link to a tutorial on how to create the tail, and she shows you exactly how to do it. And so I will link that video on doing the tail in the description box below, so you can see that. She did a very good job explaining it. And then, so let's go on to our legs. Now with our legs, the legs, I did not stuff them. I even stuffed them a little bit less. I mean, like greater than a thumb's width, because when I set them down on the deer's body, it just seemed like that they were too bulky, and it was making him lean back really far. And so I wanted to flatten that out a little bit more as far as what's going to be going underneath his bottom. Okay, so once you get it to where you like it, you of course do the same thing with the color change. I'm going to put that to the underside, so I know that's the part he's going to be sitting down on. It'll be underneath, and so that way I know if I've got my top pinched in the right angle. And then I'm going to take my yarn up my needle here, and I'm going to stitch it closed, both of them, just like I did the arms. Okay, and I'm going to do that. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got both of my ends stitched closed, or the openings, and now I'm going to start pinning the legs onto my deer. Okay, so the first thing I do is I start out where I find the center, which is where we started. Yeah, where we started the body. Okay, and that I use that as a guide, and I take the leg, I make sure that color jog is going to be underneath, and I put it one leg, I pin them one on either side of that opening circle, maybe one or two rounds. I was about to say rows, rounds apart. Okay, I mean from the center. Like I said, good thing about pins is you can always put them in, and then you can change them if you're not liking where they are sitting at before you start sewing them down. So I have it on the third round from the middle round. I mean the first round. Okay, so round 3. Okay, and then I'm going to get my second one, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side of that first round. Okay, and I try to even center them as far as where I'm putting the pins in. Let's see, with each other there, like that. Yeah. Now I'm going to stick my pins in there, and then I'm going to take a look at it and see what I think. Okay. Okay, and then I sit him down to see if I like where the legs are sitting. Okay. Now, of course, he's not going to be sitting up by himself, but that is the beauty of having a tail, because I always use the tail as kind of a prop in the back to hold them up to help them sit well. Okay. So, if I have them pinned, if I stitch them down where I have them pinned, they're going to come down straight once I attach them, and I'll have to kind of adjust the angle to see if I like where the legs are going to be hanging, if I think they look even. Okay. I like that pretty well. Okay. So that looks like that's going to work out pretty well. The next thing I'm going to do is take my tail, and remember it's going to be going like this, okay, because you want to, that white is going, this is a white tail deer, so the white is on the underneath of the deer. And then I take it and I put it around the back. I probably can't see this, but I use it, I kind of put it underneath in the center, but I kind of slide it under there where I think that it's going to be, see how it's going to hold the body up? I'm sorry that this is the wrong angle, but I will, once I get it pinned, then I will show you. Can you see that? Oh, you see that down there. But anyway, so right now I'm going to go ahead and pin it where it's sitting, because he is sitting up by himself, so that's good. I hold that into place exactly where I have it, if I can do that with one hand. Okay, and then I will, well, first I'm holding it there, and I want to make sure that it is in the center between those legs, and it looks like it's in a pretty good spot. So now I'm going to start shoving pins down in there to hold it into place. Okay. Looks like it's even. Okay, now I'm going to flip him back up and sit him down to see. See, he is sitting up by himself, so yay! That's good. Giving it a thumbs up there. Okay, see that? So it looks like that's exactly the place where I want to put the legs and the arm, the legs and the tail. Okay. Love those animals with tails. It helps so much in helping to prop the animal up, so then he will sit. Okay, so now I'm going to take my yarn needle. I've already got it attached to one of the ends of the legs, and I'm going to start securing them down. And once you secure them down with a few stitches, then of course you can take the pins out. Yeah, like that. Okay. So let's see, this is the one I've got it attached to. So I'm going to start sewing this one down, and then I'll sew the other one down and the tail. Now she does have a picture tutorial on where she places her arms and legs, and that is at the bottom of the pattern. So feel free to follow that one if you don't like the way I'm doing this mine. Just make it your own. I'm just kind of giving you tips as far as how I do mine. Okay. And so I'm going to start securing these down same way that I did the arms and the arms, same way that I sewed on the arms and the ears, the same type of technique. And then I will meet you up when I get all this sewn together, okay? Okay, so I got my dash done, and I went ahead and did the cloven detail on the hooves. She has a great tutorial to show you exactly how to do that. Okay, and she said to go ahead and put all your arms and legs and everything on there before you put the cloven hoof accent on there, because you want to make sure that it is facing up where you put those stitches at. Okay, so there is my Dash the Deer, and that marks the end of our Dash the Deer crochet along. thank you so much for all of those that have participated in this crochet along with me. I had such a fun time, and I really enjoyed everybody's seeing everybody's pictures that they have posted over on the Facebook group. So spend this week, or like I said, this assignment for this week is to do the arms, legs, and the tail and get it all finished. And so I look forward to see everybody's completed project. So thank you so much, guys, for participating in this crochet along, and we will see you in the next tutorial video. Bye, guys.